The topic is using information gathering and how it can change your attack. Basically, we did an attack on a bank not in the United States, and I wanted to kind of go over what we did and how the attack changed based on the information gathering as it was coming in. So this is my first time speaking at PhreakNIC, so I just kind of wanted to tell you who I am, a little bit of my background, and then kind of go from there. Graduated from engineering school in upstate New York, called RPI. Right from there, I went into an ISP in upstate New York. We went from 500 to 5,000 subscribers for dial-up and DSL in 1 year. Quickly found out that you don't put your eggs in one basket. We had basically a shell server that hosted everything, including the IRC server, and ended up absolute freaking nightmare. So if you're as old as I am, you'll understand what that all means. So quickly learned how to do, I did BSDI administration, went to FreeBSD, and separated everything from there. That got sold to one of the large ISPs, which basically I started a computer consulting firm in New York. Mostly did Novell and Macintosh consulting. I sold that to Gateway Computers, which allowed me to pretty much do whatever I wanted at that particular time. And I wanted to get into forensics. So computer forensics in New York City, moved down to Manhattan, started doing forensics. I was involved in the Enron case, which was total bullshit. And basically started catching a lot of, it was in a lot of corporate espionage, which was freaking fun as hell. But what wasn't fun was all the kiddie porn and pedophiles. That's ultimately what made me lose my mind. Basically 2 rules: you don't fuck with my family, you don't fuck with kids. And when you fuck with kids, I couldn't handle it anymore. Had a case that basically was locked tight solid from a forensics aspect. He got off on a technicality that had nothing to do with my data, and it was the first time in my life that I just wanted to absolutely kill somebody. So I knew that I needed to do something else. So I quit there. I wanted to go on the other side of the table. I met this guy named Ruffer, who was a certified ethical hacker, which to me was freaking awesome. So that's what I transitioned into, was a security engineer and an ethical hacker. Moved to Chicago and worked for a couple Fortune 500 companies there. I loved it. Moved to Memphis, Tennessee from Chicago based on a family member getting ill. And currently I started a iPhone, Android, and iPad development company with my brother-in-law. That's pretty much my life story. There we go. It's kind of sad. All right, so basically what we did is I'm an independent pen tester. I consulted out a couple other guys throughout the United States to a Fortune 500 company, bank, and we wanted to do pen testing. They basically wanted us to test the integrity of their online banking, their trading, trying to get to their customers and just kind of mess with them. It's something that we didn't want to do because we didn't feel that was their security risk. What we wanted to do and what we had to convince them of doing is actually attack their company. So we came up with a game plan to actually try to steal personal information, social security numbers out of their HR department. And through that information, we said, we want to look at it how a hacker would come in, basically attack your company first, find out who you are, what you're doing, and then spread it out from there. So that was our intent. We were debating on whether to do the marketing department or the HR department. Once we realized that they stored all of their social security numbers in their document management system, we're like, we want to do the HR department. The attack window was about a 3-month to do it. We showed them a couple examples of what we did in the past. So they said there was no physical attack allowed, meaning we couldn't like run in, grab the server, and run out. But we did make sure that the reason that the attack at MIT recruiting event is with the no physical, we basically said, okay, you don't want us to come to your corporate headquarters and do anything physical there? They're like, yes. We're like, but if you guys leave, you're fair game. They're like, yes. We're like, sweet. All right. And then we were basically going to attack a recruiting event based on the information we were getting that we knew what they were doing, and pole and fish. I don't know what the fuck that's in there for. So methodology that we use this on the computer side as well as the human side. It's very simplistic, but basically we do information gathering, vulnerability analysis, target selection, planning, and then executing the attack. So basically, I'd say most of the due diligence that we do is in the first three, and then we all kind of get together, find out what information that we have, and then figure out what we're going to do. Does that make sense? If you have any questions, just ask. These are the tools that we originally were going to use. We are basically going to use LinkedIn, Twitter, their Facebook fan page, Maltego, and Google Apps. So this is just a demonstration, or basically what we did for our LinkedIn attack, and I do this today. I'm actually doing an experiment right now that either I'm going to get arrested or I'm going to fly to Greece and back for free. What we did is we basically we searched for the upper level VPs. If they didn't have a LinkedIn account, we basically created LinkedIn accounts. We did more than one. We basically linked those accounts together so there's kind of a trusted relationship, so that when they see, the CEO with no friends, that's kind of iffy. But if you see the CEO with multiple other VPs as friends, then you're like, oh, I want to be attacked. That's really the CEO, so I want to be part of that. So that's what we do there. We join common groups with LinkedIn. So again, it makes it a little bit more realistic. In this attack, we did no invitations whatsoever. We basically connected these, and they came flooding in. So of the 14,000 people that they had in the company, I bet we had close to 2,000 people within the first 3 or 4 weeks that connected to our fake LinkedIn accounts. I did a quick search of a local bank in this area. I think this is Regions, and just wanted to give you an example of what I would do is, again, I would look at management, look at the board of directors. The really cool thing about our generation is I bet half of these dudes don't even know how to turn on a computer. So it's very easy to create these. If, say, the chief risk officer is pretty computer savvy, what we would do is we would actually spell his name wrong. So instead of William C. Wells, maybe we do William C. Wells with just one L, and then still see if people will connect to it. Again, this is part of the test to make sure that they're doing their due diligence of the hack. So if William Wells is gone 4 weeks and doesn't see that he's also William as well with an L, that's an epic fail. So this is how we did it. First, we basically we opened up separate Gmail accounts for everybody that's going to do here. All right, so I would set up williamowen@gmail.com, and I would link his address for LinkedIn to that email address, and say yes for the verification on that address. And I use the same password, a more secure password for all of the Google accounts that I set up. Okay. From there, I do go back to the corporate, and I look for either photos of themselves, because executives, they got to have that fucking beautiful portrait from side with the suit and the perfect tie. I'll throw that on there. If they don't have a picture, then I'll usually Google and find a child that looks like them and put it up there, so it looks like their kids. Pets or company logo tends to work. Not doing an image, we found people don't really appeal to that. And then the reason that we do the separate Gmail accounts is at the end of this, we want to basically hand that all over to them, right? So we basically hand over all the Gmail accounts with their passwords, all the LinkedIn accounts, all their passwords, so that they know they don't. If you do just one email address, then if they want to keep these particular profiles, because if we have set them up in their own name, it's hard to transfer in LinkedIn. So that's kind of the concept of why we did that. So for Twitter, it has a little bit of a different turn on Twitter because part of the marketing strategy or the marketing plan for Twitter is to get anonymous people to follow you, right? At least for the marketing it is, or the event that they're doing a Twitter for. So that was really easy to follow. I have no idea why these other people were Twittering, because their policy and procedure at this bank was no LinkedIn, no Facebook, and no Twitter, no company Twitter accounts. But for some reason, these people actually had company Twitter accounts. A lot of times we'll see Facebook and that stuff in a company rejected by the content manager, the firewall, whatever, except for they always break through the firewall for marketing, because marketing has to have these social media tools, social networking tools. So basically, we followed these guys. We followed the people that were following them because we wanted to basically see what the interaction was going. That's how we found out about the hash for the MIT event. And then they did do a separate MIT Twitter account with a separate event hash. For Facebook, this was kind of interesting because the marketing wanted to, again, it's an HR, it's a career center. They wanted to reach the people, the younger kids, to recruit them. So they wanted to be a little bit more person savvy or kid savvy or Generation Y savvy, whatever you want to call it. So they were actually taking interviews through Facebook, their fan page, and setting up time frames. So this was actually going to be part of our physical attack. Is a couple of us pretended to be students, set up interviews to try to see what we could do, see if they had a laptop there, if we can plug in some USB stuff, hand them our CDs with our resumes on, et cetera, things like that. So this was basically going to be our primary attack into HR, was this event. It never finished. We never made it to MIT. We never filled our interviews. And I got to be honest, this shit never happens to me. This was an act of God. I have no idea what happened, and I still can't believe it to this day. But basically, this experiment took a left-hand turn. Because of all the information that we were following and reading it, we quickly turned to another attack, totally different attack. Again, our agenda was basically to get to this document management solution through HR. The VP of HR came to O'Hare on a flight to a conference in Chicago, and she Twittered her ass off about this conference. And it was the worst trip for her to date. They lost her luggage, the stuff that was in her luggage when she arrived. She Twittered all about that. When she landed, she went straight to the hotel without her luggage. She basically said that she realized she couldn't connect to the corporate VPN because her cellular card that was mandatory to connect to the VPN was in her bags that were lost. She had a laptop bag, but not her cell card. So she basically said, I'm at Best Buy, and she started talking about the sandwich shop across the street from Best Buy had the greatest sandwiches in the world. And the reason that she was at this sandwich shop was because the IT guy was putting in a new cellular card from Best Buy into her laptop. So this was the information that basically we read. Now Twitter's in real time, or it's a couple minutes off. And so we quickly jumped on Google Maps, looked in Chicago for Best Buys. With the street view, we basically looked around to see which one had a Jimmy John's across the street. We found it, okay? We called the Best Buy, introduced ourselves as the admin from her company, and heard that she was having some problems with her laptop. The technician said, yes, I'm installing a new cell card as we speak. And I said, okay, well, you're going to need a couple passwords. And he said, nope, I got them right here. I said, well, please verify them. And he read me the passwords. gets again, this shit never happens to me, so it gets a little bit better as I explained to him. I said, look, the cellular card that you're installing, what firmware are you installing? And he told me it was 2.1.1. And I said, look, there are some known issues for our VPN client, and you would be doing me a huge favor if you can install this other client. Go ahead and install that. After you install this one so that she doesn't call me later and I have to walk through all this stuff. And he's like, yeah, no problem, no problem. So I basically emailed him a .exe. He gets it. He installs it on our laptop. We're looking at our laptop and we're like, yep, it worked. Thank you so much. So basically the moral of the story, yeah, there you go. All right, that's not the moral of the story, but the moral story, what we brought to them is, because social networking was such a huge rage, technology was really going faster than what their policies and procedures were. We kind of showed them that they really needed to treat all these new technologies as if they were systems internal. So you wouldn't allow certain things to happen on your email system. If you're going to if you're going to say there's no Twitter allowed, then you need to go out there and make sure no Twittering is being done. If you do allow Twittering, then you need to monitor Twitter as if you were doing an email system. And you should look at those things and think, she's going to Best Buy. Oh, she didn't have permission to go to Best Buy and get that card, by the way. She did that on her own. So if they were monitoring that, they would have been like, whoa, you can't do that. So we kind of showed them some preventions and ways and rules to do that. And then basically, monitoring for the LinkedIn, the fake, making sure that HR goes through and looks to see, what LinkedIn profiles are out there, if they're real, if they're not real, and just kind of monitor that as if you were monitoring your email system. I think that's my presentation. Any questions? Thanks, guys.